Hello everybody, Uchenna here, and I want to use the opportunity maybe to say a few things, address a few things, and as an artist, I work, and every artist is supposed to work, right? And we all work, put in the work, be you a painter, sculptor, graphic designer, art director. One thing is sacrosanct, you're all solving problems, right? Artists are supposed to be solving problems, right? Apart from creating aesthetics and trying to make money, also, you have to feed your family, you have to pay the bills. But the most important thing is that you're solving some problems, right? And there's this gut feeling that you have when you are onto something and you're getting it back to back, whether it be on the canvas or maybe on a sketchboard or paper, and you're hitting the spot and you feel that you're getting it, you're onto something, and you're gaining, and there's this happiness and self fulfillment that comes with it, and it's really a very nice feeling, which I would love a lot of people to feel. Not just artists. We don't want to be partial with this feeling, because a lot of people can feel it. Remember, we are all artists when we are kids, right? Then you started developing, and people started veering into other stuff. But that artistic element is still embedded and still there. Sometimes it finds its way out. You might some follow the already pre-designed or pre-labeled career, which is artist. I'm an artist, right? I'm an architect. I'm a doctor. I'm a surgeon. See, all these things have to do with doing. You're doing something, right? And the art of do. The art of do. So what are we saying? What is really the definition of art? But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Or maybe that's what I'm here to talk about. So I'm not painting now. Put down my brushes, put down my pen. Sometimes I feel like we need to have these conversations. Who knows, could trigger something. Someone might be inspired, which is really nice. There's tons of artists out here, and we need to be having this conversation. It's not just when you have an exhibition, then there's this artist talk segment, which just confines the whole stuff in a section where you probably talk about your piece, your piece of work or your collection, and you don't speak outside of it. Because after speaking about it, let's say you are in an art talk after your exhibition. After the event, everybody goes out, right? Everybody goes into. Some people came through. Some people came with their cars. The guy came with a bike. Some people have to go to somewhere, maybe a bus stop, and start looking for Oshodi and some other stuff. A kind of bus that they are going to enter. Some people enter like 3 different places. All these things are experiences, and whatever you said in that art talk jumps out the way, because you're then just like that you start dealing with new realities, and whatever you talked about just jumped out the way. And okay, when you get to your place, stuff also keeps happening. But does that mean that you start talking about that thing because it's happening presently? But really, I hope it could be possible for us to address art, and as it is happening, in present tense. Okay, let's see. Let's say, for an example, sketching. You understand? I just finished a sketch after this talk. Just finished a sketch, and I went out. I needed to buy some milk, so I jet downstairs, goes to the grocery store. Then something happens, or I saw a peculiar vision or something. I saw how some things or some people were standing, and I'm supposed to have something that I'll pull up and start trying to capture it, and that is art. But you can't, because maybe they might have rules there. Imagine pulling out a pad in a grocery store, and people might think that you're crazy. There's something wrong with you up here. But that's the conversations we need to have. Some people might make themselves ready for that too, because sometimes I work with a pad and try to capture everything in my sketch pad. Then when I get home, I try to transfer them, maybe make a painting out of them, find a topic that is worthy to address. But then you see, I'm picking now. I'm picking from some spontaneous realities that I was able to capture on paper. I'm talking about some guys that goes with stretch board and canvases and mixed paints, moving around town, capturing whatever they see. Maybe if they are in a restaurant, they can still be able to maybe pull off an acrylic painting or oil painting or pastel. I can imagine how the set is going to be. It's going to be crazy, So you see, these are the realities of an artist. So at the end of the day, we come with premeditated stuff, which is cool. Art can be premeditated or spontaneous. And who are we to judge which one is better? It's the beholder. The beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, they say. So it's when you show your art and people like it, vibe to it, then they connect and they want to come see your artwork. Some might want to purchase, some might just want to be friends with you or introduce you to some other stuff. So the key point is to keep practicing. This is to practice art is really very hard, especially in a tight economy where nothing is predictable. Most of the things are green. You understand? Prices are up. Prices of art materials. If you're working with colors, you understand what I'm talking about. Especially the white color. The white colors are usually expensive because you use more of the whites for tinting and toning and mixing and and a lot of things, or even priming. So artwork, from the canvas to the colors to every other thing that you want to experiment with. Even if you're working on them, if you're working on maybe one of those artists that want to go like preach environmental friendly type of practice, which means recycling, trying to help the environment and using the things of the culture of the people around there, like slippers, flip-flops, collecting nylon or polythene leathers and plastic castaways and stuff like that, bringing them together to form an artwork. Some people use tires, peel off the layers, and now use them to form really some nice sculptures. It's still going to take some effort because you're not going to be moving around getting all those stuff, which is really cool. That's why I appreciate guys that do it, because it takes a lot out of you. You're going to spend a lot, whichever way you see it's still expensive. Whether you're buying some materials imported from the West or you're trying to form a green color by trapping all the green leaves and trying to maybe put them in a crucible and try to extract the green pigment from it. Getting some bunch of earth, trying to do some crazy stuff on it just to extract that brownie from it and from your color. It's still expensive. It still takes time. It's not something that like this. So if you want like this, you go to an art shop, buy colors, buy already known and taught materials in schools. You really buy them and use them. It's just going to cost you the money. So artists are affected by all this, and they still have to create, and you still have to face what is in front of you and make decisions to some things, say yes to some things and say no to some things, walk around some things, try to reason out some things just to create a rendering or an impression, or just to express yourself. as an artist. I think that is funny. Sometimes in the middle of an artwork, I just burst out laughing because I'm like, people are out there chasing the money. People are out there in the banks. People are making presentations. You know, people are importing stuff. Some people are producers. Some people are into productions. People are shipping stuff, and an artist is in the studio, try to decipher a space, a canvas, try to build something, try to act like God, right? We call it creation, right? Creativity. And that reminds me of the Lord's Prayer. If you're a Christian, it says the first phrase, Father, very remarkable. Said, our Father who art in heaven, or our Father which art in heaven. Art is the word A-R-T. I usually think of that and like, wow, who art in heaven. But we are art here, and I think you should patronize artists and, you know, try to see things the way they see it. You understand?